that was a shameless plug. So, little contest wrap up. Didn't go exactly as planned. Not terrible, just a couple unfortunate things. Uh, got really nauseous last night when I went to bed, and then we basically got stuck in a hotel room next to every drunk person in Ohio, and
Except me.
except for Tam, and they were just banging on my door at like 3 in the morning and like yelling shit and just being like drunk college kids. I call them as I see them because I was one. So we've all been there. Whatever. I just tried to get what I could out of it. So I only got like 3 hours of sleep. It really messed me up. But that being said, my alarm went off at 5, and I said it's go time. So I just got my stuff together and met up with Sarge and Patrick Rogers and had some breakfast. And then headed over to the venue. We started off with the dumbbell. I was kind of fumbling it at the beginning. I was kind of surprised with how small the dumbbell was. I'd just been training on ours, which was just so much bigger that my technique placement was a little bit off. And I will say that I was honestly impressed with the fact that I was able to recover enough from it to, with something like 10 or 15 seconds left, I locked out 2 reps and just kind of pulled that out of my ass. But it was, technically a PR because I had never done that before in training, so woo. Then we went into the yoke, and that's where things kind of fell apart because I was expecting to make up a lot of points on that, but there are side screws in the side of the Big Dog Strong yokes, which basically tighten them down so that they don't move around so much and they don't wobble. So they're really nice yokes, honestly. Johnny Wasico does a great job with them, and they're super tight yokes, which is great when they're adjusted. But basically, my lane judge was still tightening down the side of my yoke when the MCs called athletes get ready, set, and go, and I had to push my lane judge aside and just grab the yoke and say F it, and just picked it up and ran with it. So that cost me an extra probably whole second. And in the field of competitors as tough as we had today, half a second was like 3 places. So, not my control, but, still, it was frustrating. Brushed it off, said no problem, I'll make it up on the Husafell. Zach trained that so much and so uncomfortably in me that I thought for sure I would just smoke this Husafell and just dominate it. And I felt like I was. Once I got it up and moving, I felt like I was golden. I got to a point where I wanted to, make a small adjustment with it. But my legs still felt fresh. My back felt fine. I was like, sure, I had at least another 70 feet in me, if not more. And then I went to make that adjustment, and I kind of I popped the Husfeld up a little bit, and then when I went to catch it, something in my left arm, I felt a pop and heard a pop, and something in my bicep and forearm area cramped up so incredibly bad that it basically my wrist extensors cramped so hard that they literally pulled my hand off the Husafelt as I was trying to grip it. And then I was trying to hold a Husafelt with one hand, and when it's 300 pounds, that just ain't gonna work. So it slipped out of my left hand, and I just spit all over the camera. Oops. Whatever. And it fell, and I got a shitty distance. So I was like, man, I'm just digging myself a hole. Went and got my forearm looked at. It took a while to get it to relax. It started to bruise a little bit. I was a little worried. I might have torn something. Johnny Wasico, awesome guy, and Mike Mistel kind of pulled me aside and they took a look at it. We did what we could. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Johnny taped it up and said, we're just going to tape it up. It's still going to hurt, but this at least will help you kind of just get through the last two events. And them being farmers walks and deadlifts, I kind of needed my grip. So thanks to you guys. I appreciate the help. And then getting ready for the farmers, and the wonderful Donnie Rhodes was my lane judge. Super nice guy. He was still in the process of setting up my farmer's handles and was still in the middle of putting one of the handles on the line, and the MC said to athletes, take your grip and go. And Donnie was even yelling at the MC like, no, not yet. And whatever. So that was another botch. But I mean, again, picked it up and ran with it, and hit a PR. So it was good. I did fine. I performed fine. I just, unfortunate circumstances cost me a little more time than I could afford. And so that put us going into the deadlift, and I'm pretty sure I was in 12th place, I think. And at this point, I was basically out of contention for qualifying for day 2. And that was a real bummer and incredibly frustrating. When you train that hard for something, you'd like your scores to be reflective of your performance, and unfortunately I didn't really feel like either one was happening. So John Alderson kind of pulled me aside and just told me to get out of my own head and just go and just rock this deadlift. And when you're talking to a guy like John who can make weight occasionally at 175 and deadlift 700 pounds, and he tells you to just go in there and smash a deadlift, you kind of get amped up and want to smash a deadlift. So the deadlift was interesting. You had to carry 2 sandbags and load them into a tray that was resting on top of a car deadlift frame and deadlift for reps once all the implements were inside the tray. But instead of a car deadlift where you kind of pull and the weight's behind you, you had to face the implement. So that was kind of new. Felt a lot like a trap bar deadlift almost, but I loaded it up in what was my strategically sound, planned way. And I think it worked to my advantage because I got 25 reps. Super happy with that, and I felt like I could have kept going. I think that was good enough for 3rd place on that. I know somebody got 28 reps. I think somebody else got 30 reps. So either way, I was definitely up there. So that was kind of nice to wrap up the day with an event like that. And finally, I ended up placing 7th. I tied for 7th with Chase Carnes. And that alone was an accomplishment I'm pretty proud of because I have a ton of respect for that guy. An awesome competitor, awesome guy. I don't know which of the events was the tie-breaking event, but whichever one it was one that was given to Chase. So congratulations, he technically placed 7th, and I technically placed 8th. Again, like I said, just kind of frustrating. It's not what you hope for. It's not what you plan for. I felt like the execution was there, and I made the best out of the situation I was dealt with. And not making any excuses either. Like, that's just, it happens sometimes. And, I probably should have been a little more on top of my game on the dumbbell. And the Husafelt. So those 2 events that kind of went awry shouldn't have been as big of an issue. So, learn from it. I'm happy I beat a lot of the guys that I really wanted to beat, that I thought were going to be the top guys. So I was really happy with that, and I'm also really stoked that John's in the lead right now with 1st place. I've grown to really like John over the last year, talking to him and hanging out with him at different competitions. So couldn't be happier that any other guy was in 1st place. So wishing him the best of luck. And to be completely honest, I haven't had a drink in months and months and months. So, wishing John the best of luck on day two. I will make a small toast to the Kentucky native strongman with some Kentucky bourbon. I'm going to the bar. See ya.